no better than Andrade to kick things off with. We kind of felt this might be a bit of a one-sided matchup. Andrade is a beast. For about a minute and a half, I thought Lemos looked pretty good. But once it got close, it just didn't matter. Andrade gets the first standing arm triangle in the UFC. Josh, I know you enjoyed this one. What was your thoughts on effectively a submission? I did not think that you could get standing up at this level.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen it before. I think Kat Zingano did it recently in Bellator, right? But it's certainly a weird one to get. I don't understand how, with the height discrepancy, she was able to really kind of lock that in. But she is hella strong. So, as soon as Lemos kind of had that panic look on her face, it did kind of occur to me that Andrade was maybe going to finish this one. Such a weird, such a freaky submission to land though, that standing arm triangle choke. I thought it was fucking amazing. Like I said, it did start off kind of tepid. Lemos looked like she was going to kind of try and pick her apart, maybe play the matador a little bit. But Jesus Christ, Andrade has way more weapons than I thought she had. That is a savage submission. That is something special.
That's a submission you pull off when you are freakishly strong. I mean, freakishly strong. How the fuck she managed to get enough fulcrum, enough pressure from that position is terrifying. And I mean, let's be honest, this is the division that she won the belt in. It's the division she probably can be most competitive in. She's 1-on-1 with the champ. And after this, I mean, what do you think? Like, where do you think Andrade can stack? Because one thing I'd say since she went up to flyweight is she did seem to be a little bit more sensible, a little bit less aggressive, a little bit more measured. Do you think that if she takes that approach down to strawweight with the weight and power advantage that she's going to have, not to mention maybe not having to deal with quite as much height as consistently as you'd maybe see at 125, do you think that she can get herself back into that title contending picture again?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's fought Shevchenko and changed weight classes will attest to the fact that they thought they knew what a technical fighter was. Then they went up against Valentina. Yeah, when Korean Zombie gets absolutely murked by Volkanovski, he says, "Thank you for showing me the difference between what I thought a championship level was and what a championship level actually is." That's that Shevchenko factor, and it seems like Andrade has learned that lesson well. So I really think she could. Look, if she's not having any issues with the weight and she carries on taking steps forward, yeah, she's a real fucking live wire in this division. It's really kind of just like an early stoppage against Wei Li that's dethroned her, and then kind of bailed out for 125, thinking that was going to be maybe a more comfortable division for her. I'm excited to see Andrade back where I think she belongs. I don't know. How do you guys rate her after this one? Everyone's got to be a little high on Andrade.
She could probably take on Rose, probably finish Rose, probably take the title.
Really well, we know she can beat Rose.
Yeah. How many fights before she gets a title shot? What, another fight and then she's got a title shot?
Maybe.
Well, it depends. It depends on the timing, I think. We're going to have Wei Li against Joanna again, right? Got
yep, 275
weeks. I think depending on how fast they can turn around the winner of Joanna against Wei Li, maybe one more win.
It depends who she fights.
Probably no more than two. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think she's a really good matchup for most of the people. Like, we know that Joanna's an issue. We know that Wei Li would be an issue. And we know she can lose to Rose, but she can also beat Rose. But I just feel like most of the others, I mean, I think Marina Rodriguez would be a really tough fight for her, just based on very technical striker, very tall, very long, knows how to fight long, good footwork. But I think Yan Xiaonan struggles big time. I think Carla struggles. I think Mackenzie struggles. I think Hebas struggles. So I think there's a lot of people there that you'd look at and go, I mean, the weird thing as well, where did she end up getting ranked? Because it almost felt like she was unranked for this. Lemos
still not
got the second.
Technically,
she's still not ranked. I just checked.
Traditionally, though, if you're ranked high in another division and you change over, it usually only takes a win or two to more or less just bring your number up or down to the appropriate weight class.
Well, Lemos is still 10th, and Andrade is not in it, so they haven't actually.
They haven't. They
updated it.
update them on Tuesday. Usually, we're recording this on Monday.
Who have we got at number 5 and 6 right now at 115?
So I can't hear you very well, Josh. Keep it down. Sorry.
Yeah, can you pop your volume mic up a bit?
Sorry, on the previous platform we were using, my sound was coming through crazy loud, so I was pushing the microphone further back. How's that?
Yeah, it's fine. What was your question, Josh?
Who's
He's
sat
5
at
and
number
6 at the
5 and
moment.
number 6 right now at 150?
Yes, Jan Jonan and Nina Azarov.
I mean, she
Yeah,
does bad
so I think-
things to Nina if they fight.
Yeah, well, I think they're probably going to slot her in at 5 at some point this week, at least. That would be my guess.
This was a stupid fight to book on hindsight. It didn't feel like, I think we all felt like Lemos had maybe a bit more in her to make it slightly more competitive. But when you really think about it, looking back, like this wasn't a fair fight. There's so many good fights Lemos could have had. And you gave her this girl that if she hadn't gone to flyweight is probably ranked number 1 between 1 and 3. And all of a sudden, Lemos ranked 11 is fighting her when her biggest test beforehand was Angela Hill. I just think it was a very weird booking on hindsight. I don't know if they saw something that they thought.
It's one of those freak finishes, though. It's hard to say definitively how much better Andrade is than Lemos. You know, the one thing with that submission is I don't know if it was actually at a point where she had to tap, more that she didn't want to go to the ground in that position. Not just because you'll get finished from the ground in that position far more easily, but going down when you're not supporting your neck and your back properly with someone else squeezing like that. I mean, you know, she spiked Rose pretty good. I think it might have been, 2 for 2 for hospital visits like that.
That's why Lemos passed out.
No, she tapped. I
Really?
saw her. I thought she passed out, but you watch on the replay and she
When
tapped.
she let go, she dropped the fuck down. Like
Yeah.
she was straight to her bum. But yeah,
She knew she was going, I think, which only makes it more impressive. It's not that she just got the submission and got her to tap. It's that she would have choked her unconscious, standing up. And it adds a fear factor, man. It adds a fear factor because one thing you'd say about young Andrade is hyper aggressive, but sometimes too aggressive for her own good, closing the distance down more than she actually needed to land, to be at the perfect range to land the shot, missing some of these nuances. And now she just seems a bit more calculated, but knowing that she's got those cannons to explode. I'm excited. I like Andrade. She looked every bit the Super Saiyan god that her hair color represented.
She only hit her 3 times. Andrade.
Yeah.
She only had 3 strikes.
Yeah, I mean, first minute and a half, Lemos was kind of picking
I think there were 3 leg kicks. 3 leg kicks, and that's 2 leg kicks, 1 body shot, and a submission. That's all that she did.
Well, Lemos was landing good leg kicks. She was landing the jab. Hey, Lemos had the right idea. Just didn't have a plan for that when it came in close. And fair play for Lemos. I just think this was a step, way too big a step too quickly. She should have been fighting. Tell you what, Tisha Torres would be a good fight. Looking at the rankings.
This year, she'll probably be fighting
Lemos,
soon.
Tisha Torres.
I don't know. Let's see, but I think Andrade will be fighting soon. She
took no damage,
and she wants to get a title. I think before the end of the year, she'll probably be fighting Rose for a title shot. I wouldn't be surprised.
If she's going to take a quick fight, I think it's going to have to be a big name and an impressive win. That's the only way she wins, isn't it? But it's have to be a big name and an impressive win to leapfrog the winner of the Whaley-Joanna rematch.
Honestly,
Zhang won't get that fight if she wins. Joanna might, because even though they're both 0-2 to Rose, I think the Joanna fights are long ago enough that people have short memories. And one thing is if you want to
labeled it. Sorry, I was just going to say, hasn't Dana White already said that the winner of that one's going to get the next title shot, though? Not that his word means anything, but I believe it's being positioned as an eliminator.
Joanna's so good at making the most of mic opportunities and her wins and pushing herself. And she knows that she's a sellable name, that I think she won't give them a choice if she wins. If she beats Zhang Weili, she's going to be on the mic in Singapore, grabbing Dana by the hand and forcing him. I mean, if she could force him to sign the contract in the octagon, she probably would. Zhang, I just feel she's lost to Rose twice within the last 14 months. It's pretty hard to justify. And the second fight was close, but you know what I mean? Rose still won. If you look at the numbers, Rose won that fight. I don't think it's necessarily merited. Whereas, I don't know. I think neither are merited, to be honest. I think both should have to win one more after that. And I think Andrade has got a better claim to fighting Rose again than they do, because Andrade has beaten Rose.